Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube. Tom Hanks is considered the nicest guy in Hollywood. We're constantly seeing other celebrities say this about him, and there have been lots of stories with that actual headline, Tom Hanks, nicest guy in Hollywood.
Tom Hanks plays Mr. Rogers in the highly anticipated new movie, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
So for many years, the entertainment industry has sold us this idea that Tom Hanks is essentially America's sweetheart, one of the nicest, most genuine, family-friendly celebrities out there. But when you really take the time and start looking into Tom Hanks, it doesn't take long until a different picture starts to form. This man's career has been connected with the occult and even Satanism time and time again throughout the years. In a sense, it's very much the way the devil works himself. The devil doesn't come to us with red skin, horns, and a pitchfork. Poison goes down much easier when it's given to us by somebody that we trust, we think we can relate to. Hey, they're one of us. Celebrities are some of the most powerful tools of this beast system. Originally, Tom Hanks became famous from the TV show Bosom Buddies. And this was a show where him and his friend would dress up like women and act like women so they could live in an all-female hotel for a little bit cheaper. And this show goes back decades, but isn't it interesting looking at the theme of it now, in today's context and where we are with gender, all the new pronouns, all the confusion. So I can see this television series as a seed being planted many years ago for a much larger agenda, which we're living in right now. The cross-dressing also goes back to Freemason humiliation rituals. This is a scene from the movie The Good Shepherd starring Matt Damon, where Matt Damon becomes a Freemason and joins the CIA. And this right here is an example of his initiation ritual, his humiliation ritual in public. Here's an image from the Bohemian Grove. Most of you know what the Bohemian Grove is. It's something that still exists. It's been around for a long time. They hold meetings in the Redwoods in California every year. I think it's around July for a few weeks. And typically it's presidents, leaders of industry, leaders of other countries. Some of the most powerful people in the world meet at the Bohemian Grove. Many of you may have seen the footage from Bohemian Grove, and it's all about druid and occult rituals. The majority of the people at the Bohemian Grove are Freemasons themselves, or connected to any number of other secret societies. But it's interesting that you find the same factor here with the world elite, the majority of which are connected to these secret societies. And here we have all these men dressing up in drag, putting on shows for other men. Here's a very rare article on the Bohemian Grove, and this was published back in November of 1989. Right here on the cover, you got Henry Kissinger and Merv Griffin. Here's another image from the Bohemian Grove with some of the men cross-dressing. Here's another image from the Grove, this one going all the way back to 1957. Once again, we have a stage full of men cross-dressing. One of his first movies was called The Man with One Red Shoe. When this movie was made many years ago, nobody really knew anything strange about red shoes. But now, here in 2020, we understand that the red shoe is a symbol, and it's directly connected to the occult. So I'm not saying that they made this movie with that intention, and they may have. This was made a very long time ago. But I want to share it with you because it's just one more example of how Tom Hanks is constantly connected back to the occult and to Satanism. A lot of these ideas and themes are in his work. So not all red shoes are automatically evil. The red shoe is a symbol. This is from the book Red Shoes in the Room of Tears. Throughout church history, the color red has been deliberately chosen to represent the blood of Catholic martyrs spilt through the centuries following in the footsteps of Christ. The red papal shoes are also linked to Christ's own bloodied feet, as he was prodded, whipped, and pushed along the Via Dolorosa on his way to his crucifixion, culminating in the piercing of his hands and feet on the cross. The red shoes also symbolized the submission of the Pope to the ultimate authority of Jesus Christ. Beyond this, it's said the red papal shoes also signify God's burning love for humanity, as exhibited during Pentecost, when red vestments are worn to commemorate the descent of the Holy Spirit upon the apostles as tongues of fire rest upon their heads. Just a few years ago, after a massive information dump from WikiLeaks, people suddenly found themselves with many interesting rabbit holes to explore. Ultimately, one thing that was revealed is that there is a club of the red shoes. There is a connection between the red shoes and the occult. There's a connection between the red shoes and Satanists. Also child trafficking. In this picture on the left, you can see Alex Soros. He's at a spirit cooking dinner. And the description of the picture is, Devil's Heaven, tonight we dine in hell. And Devil's Heaven is an actual event that many of these people involved in the red shoes seem to attend. Here's another image of Alex Soros, who is George Soros' son, with none other than Meghan Markle at a spirit cooking event. And of course, he's wearing his red shoes. The thing about Tom Hanks is, the more you look into him, the more unusual things that you find connected to him. Tom Hanks has also garnered some attention, maybe unwanted attention recently, for some of the strange hobbies and strange pictures he puts out there. He puts a lot of photos on his Twitter and also on his Instagram of lost items. Many of these pictures are of a single glove. So when I first started taking a look at all these different pictures he posts, the first thing that really stood out to me is how much of these feel like a crime scene. Now that's just my perception, but a lot of this feels like a crime scene, like something took place here, something bad took place, that there's a missing person, and this is just a sign of that. Then of course there's a lot of photos of little children's shoes as well. So these photos started garnering a lot of attention online. Now we're at a point where there's people all over the place who are really looking in to these strange cryptic photos. Here's another photo that's currently up on Tom Hanks' Instagram. So I believe it's all the lost items and also the connection to children that caused a lot of people to really start looking into this celebrity.
20 million followers later on, they're still hanging on whatever new kid's mitten is going to be found.
So now we find another very interesting rabbit hole connected to Tom Hanks. This one has to do with the red rings. Why are these celebrities wearing the same occult ring? Tom Hanks, Alec Baldwin, Schwarzenegger, Podesta, Oprah Winfrey. Here's a good picture of the red opal ring on Tom Hanks, where he was going to be accepting an award in Hollywood. And of course we find on this image here the Luciferian sun worshippers with the sun beaming just over his shoulder. We know that these Luciferians, or these occultists, all work through signs and symbols and inversion. And I can certainly see these particular rings, among other types of jewelry and other symbols, they may use to represent their stance or their beliefs. But as I started looking up all the different celebrities and politicians who wear these red rings, I couldn't help but think back to the TV series The Strain. The main big bad guy on The Strain is a creature that they call the Master. And the Master, of course, is essentially just another example or representation of the devil himself. But if you ever watch the show or go back and watch it and you see this Master character, you'll notice that he too wears one of these red opal rings. Here's a much better shot of it. You can see the red opal ring there near the bottom of the picture on his hand. And it does look a lot like these other rings we're finding on these various celebrities and politicians. So it's interesting that we find this idea of Luciferian politicians and celebrities wearing this particular red ring, and we find the same red ring on a representation of the devil in this TV series, The Strain. And just like most of the satanic entertainment we find in movies and TV shows these days, oftentimes they carry similar themes, similar ideas, the same symbols, This is some poster art from the series The Strain, and this symbolism right here I've seen in other areas attached to satanic ideas and even occult ideas, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now what you're watching here is a short film called Symmetry that was produced by CERN. They called this a dance opera, but this is where we find that same symbolism connecting back to the occult. And I believe the symbolism is telling us the same thing. Portals are opening, other beings are coming in. Going back to another one of those earlier films, we're looking at the movie Big, which is about a 12-year-old boy turning into a 30-year-old man overnight. In the film, Tom Hanks plays the boy trapped inside the man. What's most disturbing is that at one point in this movie he has sexual relations with an adult female. But this was billed as a big-budget, mainstream, family Hollywood movie. In 1987, Tom Hanks made the movie Dragnet with Dan Aykroyd, where they both played police detectives. But in this film we find a satanic connection back to Tom Hanks once again.
People against goodness and normalcy. PAGAN.
As I'd mentioned, when you really start looking into Tom Hanks, it's amazing how many rabbit holes surround this one particular person. By now you may have heard of the Black Eye Club. Many people are wondering, why do so many politicians and celebrities have these black eyes? I remember back when the Pope got his black eye in Colombia not too long ago, and at the time I'd been researching some of this Black Eye Club, and it reminded me of the Eye of Horus, whose left eye was taken out because of a black pig. It made me think of how a black eye was a badge of honor, perhaps, for some of these people, and why so many of these celebrities and politicians keep getting black eyes. And I do believe that in many cases this could be a ritual connected back to Horus, because Horus was the son of Osiris and Isis was called Horus, who rules with two eyes. His right eye was white and represented the sun, but his left eye was black and represented the moon. And according to the myth, Horus lost his left eye to his evil brother Seth. Although it's not officially an organization at all, this Black Eye Club refers to a growing number of politicians, celebrities, business elites, and heads of state who have suddenly and mysteriously wound up with black eyes. Although a few of them have sustained injuries to their right eye, the majority seem to occur on the left. And among those who have succumbed to these afflictions are celebrities and politicians ranging from George Bush to Kanye West. But why this current and periodic rash of black eyes? And why has this phenomenon disproportionately afflicted people of considerable power and influence? It even seems to allow for our modern 24-hour news cycle and tabloid cell phone camera culture. Up until the year 2000, I can't recall any publicly recognizable figures having black eyes. Now it seems to be everywhere. It would appear that there are two main categories within the Black Eye Club: those seated firmly into positions of government politics and those in the entertainment and Hollywood arenas. Theories as to this strange phenomenon are all over the internet, and they range from this being a secret society ritual to being a soul-scalping ritual in order to replace our world leaders with a different consciousness, aliens or demons. Another theory holds that it's a form of punishment used as a sort of check and balance within secret societies, and still other theories lean towards the implementation of some form of life extension technology, or perhaps a preparatory surgery for some kind of off-world travel or dimensional travel. So now we find Tom Hanks also associated with this strange new phenomenon, and he has it on the left eye. You can even go all the way back to 1984 with his first film Bachelor Party and find the Masonic symbolism there. Obviously here you see the checkerboard floor. Speaking of Freemasonry, Hanks has also acted in a few films based on the works of noted Freemason Dan Brown. Now in my opinion, Dan Brown is a Freemason propagandist. These movies attack Christ's deity, they discredit the Word of God, they claim an immoral relationship between Jesus and Mary Magdalene, Just over a decade ago, movies about Freemasonry or the Illuminati were incredibly rare. There has, however, been a major switch during the last decade. The worldwide public has witnessed major blockbuster movies featuring those brotherhoods at the center of their story. Oftentimes in these movies, their esoteric symbols are abundantly displayed, and also their histories are explained. Now, why are those secret societies exposing themselves to the average moviegoers, who for the most part aren't even aware of their existence? Secrecy is supposed to be an important requisite for the survival of those orders, but I believe it's a sign of a change that's taking place in the communication strategies of these elite societies. Self-published books, websites, documentaries, DVDs, videos in general, all of this over the years has been exposing many of the secrets of Freemasonry and other secret societies. Information which could at one point only be found in rare and exclusive books is now just an internet search away. And it seems that since the digital switch is irreversible, occult orders have adapted their strategy to this new way. The strategy is, if they have to know about us, we'll tell them what to know. So through Hollywood and best-selling books, people like Dan Brown, of course, secret societies are being introduced to the average person, but with one big condition. The public is given a distorted, caricatured, and even romantic portrayal of these secret societies. They're introducing this mythical lore into pop culture around secret societies, associating them with fascinating symbols, treasure hunts, and exotic adventures. The viewers believe they're actually learning facts about Masonry or the Illuminati, and they leave these movies with a sense of wonder, fascination, and even admiration. Unfortunately, those feelings are based totally on erroneous facts, dubious explanations, and fairy tale storytelling. After viewing those movies, the viewer has a positive predisposition concerning those secret societies and would be less inclined to believe and research any so-called conspiracies related to them. He also starred in another movie based on another book by Dan Brown called Inferno. Now here's where it starts getting really, really weird. Check out a few of these short clips from Inferno, but you'll see quickly how it connects now to 2020, many years later, and what we're currently dealing with on a planetary level.
Oh my God. Don thinks Inferno isn't fiction, it's a prophecy. Someone created a plague. They're going to wipe out half the world's population unless we find this virus.
Angels and Demons is based on Dan Brown's novel, which focuses on the Illuminati and its war against the Catholic Church. In the beginning of the movie, Robert Langdon, which is the character played by Tom Hanks, tries explaining the Illuminati and seems to make several false claims. At one point he says that the Illuminati was just an association of scientists, physicists, and astronomers concerned with the Church's inaccurate teachings, and that they were dedicated to scientific truth. The Vatican didn't like that, so the Church started to hunt them down and murder them. Where the fact is, the Illuminati was not a group of scientists dedicated to the advancement of common knowledge. The movie falsely portrays the secret society as the necessary rational counterpart to Christianity's requirement of blind faith and its hindering of scientific advancement. In this way, the average viewer cannot disagree with Tom Hanks' description of the Illuminati and sees the order in more of a favorable way, and of course Christianity in more of a negative way. The real aim of the Illuminati was the overthrow of traditional institutions in favor of their New World Order. According to Lady Queenborough from the book Occult Theocracy, the objects of this powerful organization of the Bavarian Illuminati were, number one, the destruction of Christianity and all monarchical governments. Number two, the destruction of nations as such in favor of universal internationalism. Number three, the discouragement of patriotic and loyal effort branded as narrow-minded prejudice, incompatible with the tenets of goodwill to all men and cry of universal brotherhood. Number four, the abolition of family ties and of marriage by means of systematic corruption. And lastly, number five, the suppression of the rights of inheritance and property. The Bavarian Illuminati has dissolved some years since its creation. Researchers, however, say that the Illuminati has successfully integrated itself with modern Freemasonry. Illuminati thinkers believed that worldwide reach of Masonic lodges represented the ideal platform for the propagation of their agenda.
Symbols are a language that can help us understand our past.
I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Toy Story movies, and Tom Hanks, of course, plays Woody, one of the characters in Toy Story. But as with most so-called children's entertainment or animation these days, it is filled with occult symbolism and a lot of satanic themes and ideas. That's not to say every single children's movie or animation out there is filled with this stuff. But when you find the ones that do have the symbols in it, there's plenty of confirmation. It happens more than once, more than twice, over and over. Here's a really common one I find in a lot of different movies and TV shows, with the child laying their head on the pentagram, the upside down star. Lots of upside down stars. Check this scene out. You got the all-seeing eye baby, and then the hand holding up the 666 on the side. The Masonic floor. And that, of course, brings us to more recent times. And Tom Hanks is still doing some pretty unusual things. You may remember this right here. He released information on his Instagram. He posted at 9:11 p.m. during the presidential address at the time that he and his wife have the crown virus. And he posted that with yet another picture of a glove. And there is a history of Masonic gloves being used to signal other members. And here's something I just wanted to point out. I'm not saying that this is exactly what Tom Hanks is doing, but there is a Masonic connection to the gloves as well. Examining Tom Hanks's behavior, we can understand that he's into these cryptic tweets and these cryptic pictures and hidden meanings. It's also interesting to take note that at the time that Tom Hanks claimed that him and his wife had this virus, there were only 200 cases of the virus in Australia, and that's a country of 35 million people. So in a country of 35 million people, Tom Hanks happens to catch the virus. He has better odds being struck by lightning twice. And there's another Masonic connection here. Not only did he post at 9:11 p.m., but he also posted on March 11th, or 3/11, or 33. And I've covered the significance of the number 33 with the occult and Freemasons a few times here on this channel. And of course, the world found out about Tom Hanks and his wife Rita Wilson having the virus through his son, Chet Hanks. So as Chet Hanks is telling everybody in the world about his famous parents contracting the virus, he has an all-seeing eye Illuminati pyramid on his chest. Just to the side of that, he's got the caduceus, the medical staff, and to the side of the staff, he has little tattoos that look like black viruses. Then just above the Illuminati all-seeing eye there, the pyramid, you have WHO, or World Health Organization. Around his neck it says, I am who I am. Now we look back to the other connections Tom Hanks has with this kind of symbolism. I mean, look at the movies he's done based on Dan Brown's novels alone. So clearly he understands what these symbols mean. I'm sure his son understands what these symbols mean as well. And speaking of his wife, Rita Wilson, they first met on the set of his TV show Bosom Buddies many years ago. And check out the character that she was playing.
Oh, well, like Henry said in his tape, the usual stuff. I belong to a choral group and I worship the devil.
Worship the devil.
I worship Satan.
I worship Satan.
You know, Beelzebub, Prince of Darkness. I can't wait for Henry to meet him.
Oh, Cindy, I want to meet all your friends.
In time, you'll see it my way.
In time, you'll see it my way.
Now, come on. Let's bring him here right now.
And speaking of his penchant for these coded messages, you may remember this from just a few years ago. He took a picture of this building in New York City and posted, "This is the scariest building I've ever seen, what goes on inside?" And it's true, this is a scary building. I've put some clips from news stories in some of my videos about this particular building. Nobody really knows what happens inside. There's no windows at all, and it's very creepy and scary looking. I'm not saying that this is what happened, but when I first started putting all this together, I was thinking, how sinister would that be, that these cryptic pictures that Tom Hanks leaves up of, a single baby shoe or single glove or whatever it be. What if these really are victims, and they're victims that are being taken to this building for whatever reason? Again, I'm not saying that's what's happening, but just something I was thinking about. And then the real question is, does Tom Hanks actually know what happens inside this building? And is there some kind of occult activity taking place there? I'm not really sure, but it makes me wonder.
They out here saying that every vote counts. Oh, Doug again. What is, come on, they already decided who wins, even before it happens. Yeah, man. The Illuminati figured that out months ago. That's another one for Doug.
And then from there, the news just kept getting weirder. You may remember this story. They're going to use Tom Hanks' blood for the virus vaccine research. This connection of Tom Hanks to the vaccines isn't the only connection we have between him and Bill Gates. Tom Hanks has played this character on Saturday Night Live a few times called David S. Pumpkins. And this is a very creepy character. Could be very much an avatar of Tom Hanks himself. On the outside, he's a friendly, happy, smiley kind of a guy. But throughout the skits, we realize how much of a degenerate and pervert this guy actually is. And here's your Tom Hanks-Bill Gates connection. They actually had Bill Gates, of all people, filling in during one of these skits to be another David S. Pumpkins. The skit wasn't funny in the first place. It was just kind of creepy and weird. And now we find one of the biggest creeps and weirdest people on the planet playing this role and chumming around with Tom Hanks. So there are a lot of strange things about Tom Hanks. And once we really start looking into him and seeing all these connections and all these rabbit holes attached to him, we quickly realize the true meaning of screen idol or Hollywood idol. He's only one of many idols, many false gods put up before our very eyes for us to worship, for us to follow, for us to listen to. And like so many of these Luciferians and these people connected with their secret societies in Hollywood and in Washington, we always seem to see the same people traveling in the same groups. For years we've been told that Tom Hanks is the nicest guy in Hollywood, truly America's sweetheart. And we realize this is just one more deception. He really is the perfect tool of the beast system in that sense. A very powerful idol. The good news is, I believe all of these people are being exposed. You've seen it. It's happening more and more as the years go on. All of this stuff is coming out to the light. So I'll leave you with that for now, folks. Thanks as always for watching my video. Hope you're taking care of yourself out there, and stay tuned. I'll be back soon with more.
The best thing about being seen as the nicest guy in Hollywood is that no one searches my backyard for bodies.